for you, dear. Anything.
We're all set whenever you guys are ready.
Stage fright. Hey, I was a Back the Blue sponsor at the
How's that?
McGo
Sound
Pack. Yes.
Kelly, when I ask the question, and as soon as she starts speaking, hit the timer. All right, we ready?
Ready.
All right, well, welcome to our County Board Candidate District 5 Forum. Our candidate we have with us today is Terry Greeno. Terry, you'll have an opportunity to introduce yourself for 2 minutes, and each question that I ask you, you'll have 2 minutes to respond. So
Thank you.
without further ado, go ahead and give us your introduction.
Well, my name is Terry Greeno, and if you want your state back, keep your county. I am a mother, a wife, a Christian, a conservative, a business owner. I have a background in education. I have an MBA in accounting, finance, and systems. And I'm doing this so that you don't have to.
Okay, thank you. Terry, what do you hope to accomplish when elected, and how do you intend to make that happen?
Well, thank you very much for that question, because it really gives me a chance to share what I believe and know to be true. Safety for the citizens of McHenry County, financial soundness, and growth, just like my business. This is one of 4 counties in the state that's debt-free. It's the last red-collar county, and the Democrats are spending a lot of money to come and take us out. And now's the time to stand and fight, and don't give up anything.
Okay, can you describe 3 bedrock principles that are most important to you, which will guide you in every decision you make in your public life?
Yes. I believe that we are endowed with certain inalienable rights by a divine creator, that we are the government, that the government is within each of us. Our freedom is only taken away when we lay it down without a fight. You have to decide. I also believe that it's your money. All government is local, and there should be a lot less of it. My third position is the intrinsic value of every human life to be safe, free, and able to pursue happiness.
Thank you. Terry, as Republicans, we respect all human life and regard all humans as having been created in the image of God. Illinois has become one of the worst states for protecting the rights of the unborn and has become an abortion destination for people from other states. Illinois has now recently taken away parental notification. What have you done and what will you do to protect the rights of all humans, including the unborn? And also, how do you promote a pro-life culture in your daily life?
Upon accepting Jesus Christ as my personal Savior in 1986, I immediately realized the horrors of abortion, NARL, and Planned Parenthood. I quickly learned who Margaret Sanger was, and I encouraged all of my children to do papers on Margaret Sanger when they were in school and had to do a paper. I've given my time, talents, and treasures to pro-life organizations, crisis centers, refuge centers, homes for battered women and children, and some of the specifics: Refuge for Women, McHenry County Pro-Life, Kane County Pro-Life, Home of the Sparrow, Turning Point, boys and clubs and girls clubs. I stand for the unborn to bridge the gap. The same thing about end-of-life issues, that these are not things that are taken into the hand of man, but reside with God. He knows the number of our days. And again, every human being has intrinsic value by their simple existence on this earth, and that needs to be respected and defended from conception to their last breath. No questions.
Thank you, Terry. Next question is regarding the Second Amendment. The GOP Pillar on the right to protect yourself and others states that this God-given right enables Americans to exercise their constitutional authority for self-defense to protect their homes, loved ones, and communities. If elected, what will you do to stand up for and protect the rights of gun owners?
I believe the Second Amendment protects all the other amendments, and that it is not only a right but a responsibility, that it was put there for a reason so that anarchists and Marxists don't come in and take over our communities and our government.
Thank you for that. The next question is regarding the size of government. Government always gets bigger and accordingly more intrusive and controlling over citizens' lives. What is your suggestion on how we can rein in and reduce the size and scope of government?
The first thing when I look at any government entity is what is the role and the need of this organization? Is it necessary? And is there crossover among different government governing bodies? And is there waste in that body? I know for me, I have on my tax bill 12 taxing bodies and 9 pensions. I don't live in a place that big. So it just brings to mind questions about what are we doing and what happens when government entities become the largest employer in your county?
The next question is regarding county flag policy. It's a current issue facing the county board. Do you support the idea of having a flag policy in regards to flags displayed on county property? And if so, should flags of special interest groups be included in that policy, and which ones?
It is not the government roles to support different special interest groups. If the flag pertains to a federal, state, or local government entity, then it would be completely appropriate. Also for any of the military services, that would be appropriate. Nothing else, period.
Okay. And it has been suggested that a portion of the unused McHenry County Jail be used as a substance abuse rehabilitation facility. What are your thoughts on this idea?
Well, the first thing that I would want to know is what is the private sector providing in our county? What is the need? What is the demand from the marketplace? Is there another governing body that needs our services that we would decide to engage in a business arrangement for that purpose? So I think it's not a simple question, but you really need to understand what are the different factors that are going in, and is it a sound business decision for our county to engage in?
The next question is regarding the future character of McHenry County. Is it possible that the county may experience population growth with many new apartments and housing units opening soon? Please tell us how you will be prepared to protect and balance the natural beauty of the county with the influx of new residents.
Well, we do live in a lovely pastoral county, and I believe that a lot of that is because we don't have a limited access highway in our county. And I think that as the expansion of the marketplace grows, there needs to be proper infrastructure built to support it. And as far as the open spaces, that this is in large part driven by the marketplace and what is the best use of the land and how it needs to serve those local communities.
Okay. Terry, the education system in Illinois is broken. If we've learned anything from the pandemic, it is that parents need to have a greater say in their child's education. What would you like to see change to improve Illinois' education system?
If I could do anything to improve the education system, I would privatize it, period. I do have an undergrad degree in education. I went through a very hand-picked program at Indiana University studying Benjamin Bloom's Mastery Learning. That program was abandoned in 1985 with the last school district in the United States using it being the Chicago Public School System with the lowest reading scores in the nation. Then when my children started at District 300 in 1989, they were introducing Bill Spady's outcome-based education, which definitely caught my attention. There needs to be parental control and basic conventional education programs so that kids know how to process information and be well-educated, know how to read and do math. And I do not believe that there's any shining star right now in private and public education that can show us the way forward. And I hope that there's something that we can work with the existing schools to remedy that, but it's becoming an increasingly hopeless situation.
Okay, Terry, what unique skills or experiences do you have that will be a benefit in this office?
Well, I have a bachelor's in education. I have an MBA in accounting, finance, and systems. I've run a business for 19 years that successfully employs dozens of people, and I put hundreds of people to work every day in McHenry County and Northern King County. Additionally, my faith allows me to understand God's word and wisdom and discernment and applying what my knowledge has given me. And also, I'm a person that gets the job done. If you want something done, it's going to happen if my hands are on it. And it's going to be done with excellence and quality in a timely manner. And I'm going to get the people involved that need to bring their expertise to apply to that situation.
Okay, the next is actually a three-part question regarding lower taxes. Candidates say that they always say that they want to lower taxes. What will you do to lower taxes? What is rising inflation going to mean for next year's budget? And how do you plan to address rising inflation and still lower taxes?
Well, it may be a small thing, but it's the one thing that I can do, and I do fight my tax bills every year by having the assessments examined and to see if there's anything that doesn't match up with the process and the valuations in our area. I believe that being able to work smarter regarding inflation, we're going to have to think outside the box. And just like at home or in your business, you have to look at where you can pull those pennies from, how you can do it differently, and basically think of possibility thinking of what we can do. And the housing market, how that's going to impact the individual tax burden. We live in a beautiful area. I mean, McHenry County is one of the most glorious places on this earth, hands down, with the lovely Fox River Valley and our pastoral countrysides. It's just amazing. So of course people are going to be attracted here. Plus, we are a red county, so therefore we have a very high quality of life. So of course people want to come here. But with that, we have to make sure that the market will support. So when people are coming in and building, then they need to have the infrastructure that will support those entities. The people who own property right now are going to see an increase in prices, which will increase their equity, but then that causes the increase in taxes. So again, we're going to have possibility thinking and looking at what we can do for efficiencies and lowering the need for our money from the taxing bodies and how we can do that better.
Okay, thank you. We need to attract more businesses and grow our existing businesses. What will you do to make it easier for people to start small businesses and to protect small businesses from being destroyed by government intrusion and barriers so that they can grow and thrive? In addition, what will you do to help McHenry County be a good home for both new businesses as well as large companies?
Well, I believe that we have one of the most diverse, strong economies, I would say, in the world, which is why I opened my business here. We have excellent resources. We don't have any one thing in our county that causes our entire economy to rise or fall. And so this gives us a lot of strength. We right now have a solid, well-educated labor force, but not enough of them. And so if we let the markets work and we clear the path and we don't encumber businesses with unnecessary costs, looking at why are we doing what we're doing when it comes to the different zoning regulations and what it takes to interface with different government entities. You know, why should you have to fight for certain things like your sign and different issues like this, just to make sure that they all make sense, especially where it pertains to the county. And I do know that the county has just made great strides in how easy it is for businesses to work, and that wasn't the story a couple of decades ago. Additionally, we need to just make sure that our county is not doing anything to discourage people from entering the workforce. Right now, there's a lot of government interference with what's going on in the labor market. There aren't enough people to begin with, and then of course when you don't have people that has the right skill set and they don't have access to that and they're not motivated, they don't have a reason to get up and go to work every morning. And this hurts their character, it destroys families, it destroys people's lives. So we need to have a place where people know that they have a way to support themselves, that they have a choice to go out and get a job, and that something is not enticing them to stay at home.
Okay, the next question is regarding law and order. The GOP Pillar for Law and Justice states that we believe every human life matters, and the public's trust in the equal and sure application of law enforcement, civil order, and the rule of law is essential to a successful society. How do you balance the rights of citizens to petition the government for redress of grievances and provide a safe community? And what needs to be done to restore the public's trust in law enforcement and to ensure that everybody feels that they have equal protection under the law?
Well, in this day and age, free and open communication is much more accessible than it has been in the past. I've noticed that certain government entities do not have open forums for discussing certain topics, and that would be very helpful so that people can have access to data without having to go through FOIA processes and try to track down where that information would be. So making sure, first of all, that there is easy access to information that's pertinent to the concerns of the voters of this county. Now I say the voters and the people who live in this county. When people are filing for permits, we need to know who they are and where they're coming from. If somebody from outside this county is interested in busing people in to tear us up, no, we can deny those things. That's not the same thing as being able to voice your concerns in a free and open manner and First Amendment rights. What we want to do is make sure that the people who live here have the ability to file for petitions, to have the open protest or statements basically to be heard, to have open debates regarding what's going on and access of information. And so then, with that in mind, we want to make sure that our law enforcement is very well prepared. So you have to hire well, you have to train well, you have to coach them and lead them well, and you have to hold them accountable and make sure that they are staying up to date on every aspect of their jobs. They need to know what to do. We don't want to have situations where they are waiting on direction from another enforcement agency to take action. They need to be unencumbered when it is necessary to take action, and be able to make good decisions in the moment within seconds to protect the lives of the citizens of this county.
Okay, the next question is regarding party involvement. The party structure provides us with a method of holding our elected representatives accountable. Tell us about any public offices you have held and your involvement and history in the Republican Party.
Well, in 1991, I was asked to run for school board, and that got me involved in politics for the first time. And that's a really rocky way to get started. There were 9 candidates for 3 positions, and without any experience at all and no money, I came in 4th. So that was a pretty big deal. And of course, the 3 that won had a certain support from a certain organization within the school system. After that, I got involved as a precinct committeeman in Precinct 25 in Dundee Township. I went on to hold the office of treasurer there. I was able to attend the state GOP convention as a delegate in 1992, and that was very exciting and eye-opening. And I've had the chance to go to Washington, D.C. and lobby on behalf of the Republican positions for different federal bills regarding labor and unionizing small businesses against our will. And so this has been a passion of mine at the local level to the global level. I study and stay very on top of economics and politics at every level.
Okay, the final question is regarding the general election in November. How do you plan to run against your opponent for the November general election? And how do you plan to present yourself to the voters in contrast to your Democrat opponent?
Well, I think the choice will be very clear. I am not interested in having the state of Illinois tell our county what we have to do or what we cannot do. And so I want to make absolutely certain that that's clear on where I stand on unfunded state mandates or the state interfering in our county business right there. I also believe that between the Republican and the Democrat platforms, there's very clear delineation on the respect for human life, on the right to bear arms, on our freedoms of speech, every aspect of our living. I'm not interested in entitlement programs that are competing with what's going on in our private sector and not necessary, or crossover political action between government organizations. And I think that this will quickly differentiate me between my opponent.
Okay, and then finally, you'll have 2 minutes to give us a closing statement.
When you go to the polls, you must go to the polls this year. We are on the verge of a crisis in our country where we are losing what our founding fathers so thoughtfully put together. If you have ever been exposed to American history, the Federalist Papers, you know that when they put together this Constitution, this great experiment, there was nothing like it on earth. There never had been, and to date, we are it. They became at their very end. They didn't know what else to do to ensure that we might be able to have a republic that stays together. And they turned to God. And that is what we have to do right now. I have a life, and this is not something that I was looking to do for any other motivation, but to serve, so that I could go and put in my time helping make sure that our county is governed well and that we continue on the path that keeps us free. But it is your responsibility to vote. This is the God-given right that you were given to remember. You hold the government within you. That's where it derives. And so you have to take that action. I will be accountable. I will serve. I will be reasonable. I will listen to different perspectives. I will do research and make certain that every voice is heard and that I represent the best interests of my constituents.
Thank you, Terry Greeno, for joining us today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And thank you all for coming.